And this is Jacob Rees-Mogg. He's obviously works with quite often with one Nigel Farage. We spoke to on the show a little bit earlier this week. He was campaigning on the World Health Organization. But Jacob Rees-Mogg has urged Rishi Sunak to strike a general election pact with Reform UK and offer senior figures like Nigel Farage, who, although not frontline politics, is the honorary president of the party, and also Richard Tice, the leader of the party, the chance to be Tory candidates. He's also suggested that Ben Habib, recently on the show as well, should be offered the chance to be a candidate. He said that uniting the right wing of British politics would put victory at the next election within reach. Now, do you agree?
No, because most people who are voting Reform because they don't want the Conservatives to be in government. That's the point, actually. If the Reform parties would turn around and say, we're going to do a deal with the Conservatives, a lot of that support would just evaporate overnight. And
they did a deal in 2019 and feel they were sold out, which is why Richard Tice and Nigel Farage and Ben Habib have said basically we kind of want to they've been quite open about it. They want to destroy the Tories. They're quite... When people say if you vote Reform UK, you're going to get a Labour government guaranteed, they're going, fair enough, because we thought we'd elected a Tory government and we've had a Labour government for the last few years. Yeah,
I think actually that it would be a mistake. I think it would be a mistake for the Conservatives because it shows that they're that weak that they need to make pacts with people. They should be competing on their own footing. But it would also destroy the Reform Party. But it wouldn't make that insurgency go away. People wouldn't go, oh, well, Reform are destroyed, I'm going to go back to the Tories. Something else would just come along and it would be also, even less likely
the wet lefty side, we should have been Liberal Democrats, really, Tory side of the Tory party would go completely ballistic about that. Well, let's go to a call on this. So Daniel is on the line in Epsom. Good afternoon to you once again, Daniel. How are you?
Hey, Julia. Hey, Benedict. How you doing?
We're both fine. Yeah, well, I'm fine. He's got man flu. Don't encourage him by asking him, Daniel. Right, now, you agree with Jacob Rees-Mogg, don't you?
I do, and I think Benedict to some degree is wrong because I've ran for UKIP in the past. I've also worked locally for the Conservative Party, and I'm very much, centre-right. And I want to vote Conservative, but I can't because they're not Conservative anymore. They've become weak and overly liberal. Half the MPs are Lib Dems in blue ties. Yeah. They're socialist and centrist and considered. They don't do anything. They're not decisive. They're not the tough right of centre government that we want. So I'm probably forced to vote Reform. I don't want to, but they're the only right of centre party left. So in that degree, Benedict, I don't agree. I actually think that it would be a masterstroke. I think it would be absolutely sensational if you brought in Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, and if you brought them into mainstream politics. There's a reason that populism is popular, and it's because it's popular with people like me.
Can I say, you see, bring them into mainstream politics. They're creeping up in the polls. There's a lot of talk that Nigel Farage, again, he keeps saying in a few weeks, it was 6 weeks since the last few weeks, he's going to say whether he is going to stand at all and come back to frontline politics, leave broadcasting. I don't know whether he's going to do it or not. I'm asking behind the scenes, still haven't got a word on that. But they say, that would boost them by another 8 percentage points. Now, that is a total game changer when it comes to Tory support. But here's the thing. If they brought in Jacob Rees-Mogg, Richard Tice, Rich Farage and Richard Tice and Ben Habib, but if they didn't actually change their policies and they still were this sort of wishy-washy, oh, we've just woken up to gender ideology, oh, we've just woken up to the problem with mass immigration, I just don't see the point. I don't think that would necessarily bring people in, will it?
No, you'd have to have fundamental cultural change within the Conservative Party.
But if they did that, they wouldn't need to bring in Farage and Tice and Habib because people would go, well, we've already been served by that by the Tories.
Yeah, perhaps what we need to do is half of the Conservative Party that shouldn't even be there in situ, that aren't even Conservative, they need to be ousted. And we need to bring in the Lib Dems.
Well, we thought that they had been when they weren't. The Ramonas were Boris Johnson was very ruthless. No, you're not going to be standing unless you're going to support Brexit being enacted after that Democratic vote in 2016. I thought we got rid of a load of the wets, but we didn't.
The thing is, Julia, I think what you're all missing as well is that the sword of Damocles hanging over the UK is a Labour government that's going to allow much more mass immigration. You're going to have an amnesty on immigration. You're going to have more ULEZ, more green restrictions, more green agenda. Yep. The country's going to go to hell in a handcart. The Labour are only winning by default, right? Because the Conservative Party haven't got an identity and they're not what we voted for. They haven't done the things we've asked them to do.
Here's the thing. Maybe people need to have a little bit of a wake-up call about just how bad a Labour government under Keir Starmer would be.
Yeah, but then we have to live under it for at least 5 years. Nobody wants that.
Well, a lot of people apparently want it. That's why they're ahead in the polls.
Yeah, the naive idealists out there, they think it's the answer to all their problems, where all you end up doing is exacerbating all of the issues that people are concerned about.
Oh, exactly. And they're also, again, he's got the same intro as Rishi Sunak has, and he has just as little money as well. It's going to be quite, I think it'll be, even when it happens, it's going to be quite interesting to watch. Daniel, great call. Always great to hear from you. Daniel's in Epsom. Feel free to have your say. Love to have your thoughts on that.